Alright, well, welcome to part two of the three-point perspective. What I want to do is make sure that you've got the table of contents labeled correctly. The first tutorial that we did was 2-point looking down, or 2-point under, or I'm sorry, 3-point below. Alright, and then this is going to be 3-point above. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So please make sure it says table of contents. The new drawing is 3-point below, and then the one we're going to work on now is 3-point above. Alright, now first thing we're going to do is set that horizon line. Alright, we're in that lower hemisphere this time because we want this to rise upward. Alright, now I'm going to label A, B, and I'm going to put C way up here. Now as you're talking about perspective, alright, when we look at the depth, you can kind of cheat it a little bit, and you can be like, oh, that is down in a point way down below. Alright, so it's not going to be as severe sometimes, but when you start this upper one, when you start thinking about the sky and things going up in the air, this point becomes really infinite. Alright, so it makes it really cool, but really hard sometimes to justify what you're doing. Alright, so be very cognizant of that and be very careful. Now, just like when we did the 3-point below, let's go ahead and get the crisscross done so we know where our building is going to basically be established. Alright, so that's the base, that's the footer, that's the bottom part of my building. Now at this point, this is when I go ahead and start guiding to that C section. The C is now up on top of the page. Alright, but I don't want to go all the way up to my C, because remember, this is more of an infinity or infinite dot, so we just want it to rise toward it. Alright, now if I connect this one, then I want to go to the outside as well, outside toward the C vanishing point. Make sure I got enough lead there. We'll get that. Now remember, this is not going to be as tall as that one. We'll have to fix that in a sec, but let's go ahead and get this C aligned first. So rising the C up, we'll get our line sketched in. Alright, now at this point, this is my center, so the center now gets connected toward the A and B. Alright, so this is what makes the top of our drawing that way, and then on the opposite side it goes that direction. Alright, so at this point, most definitely looks like our building is quite slanted. Alright, or it's like super tall. Alright, and we're looking up at it. Alright, now as we've done before, alright, let's go ahead and possibly extend these lines up. Alright, I'm not going to use the ruler because I see my ghosted lines in there. Alright, but at this point I want to connect that bottom, because I want to make this like an Egyptian pyramid almost, where there's an extra like rising top. Maybe I just read too many comic books when I was a kid, but it's always a cool idea when the pyramid top just comes off, starts floating up in space. Alright, so now I have that, and then as we did in the other tutorial, to create that depth, just go to the opposite vanishing points, boom, and then here at the bottom as well, this cuts over, boom. Alright, now these are solid buildings. Alright, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to fill those in. Alright, or you can come back toward the end as well, but I'm going to erase some of those lines. I am definitely going to, before I take off, is fill this part in. And as I told you before, please make sure you try to stay in one direction. And then any of those pesky lines that you forgot to erase, this would be a good time to get rid of those. Now, I'm going to show you a couple buildings, and I'll let you work on your own at that point. So as I start building toward the left and right, alright, just as in the last piece, you're going to have lots of exaggeration. So there's my guide toward the C. I'm going to grab the taller line as always, I'm going to guide toward the A line, and then I'm going to come over here and guide toward the B. Alright, and that creates my depth on that side. Now, what we don't see much of is this footer down here. Alright, but there is a small little section that does cross over. Alright, this is very similar to 1 point where we had those little extra lines. So go ahead and fill that in. Now, I do want to show, we did the projections and protrusions on the last one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show that too, so you can see how these kind of work. So I've got my lines toward the upper vanishing point. I'll move this one over as well. Then I'll set my footer on my B side here. So there's the bottom of that. And then I'll go to the top, set that angle. Remember, always connect it to the top line, just like that. Now, to create my space though, alright, we need to go opposite vanishing point. Boom. And then let's check to see if we see any lines there. There's a tad bit, not much. I lucked in, I had a little extra line there. Alright. Now I gotta get my vertical. And then back to the B side again to set that. So at this point, I'm going to shade this one toward the A. And then this one, I'm just going to sketch and shade this straight down. Much longer ideas that way. Now, projections, I mean, you've already seen how that works. I'm going to sketch it in real quick. So, you know, you have to go like that toward the C's. Alright, so you start with that. Your depth comes across toward the B. Alright, so there's that. That's the same thing we did on the last one. So just make sure that you're connecting, alright, to the right spots. Shade in appropriately so that shade's in there. And then last but not least, I want to show you how to make projection up here. Alright, so I don't want this just to be topped off with like this one that's floating. I want this to have an overhang, so maybe this section is coming out. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and kind of set something out like that. Alright, now I may not use all that line, but I do have that information if needed. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset. I'm going to go to the corner of my building, offset, and I'm going to put that line in. And then I'll come up here as well, offset that. Now, at this point, I need to create my height. So I need to do that. So I connected the outside edge and now the inside edge toward the appropriate vanishing point. And then let's cap that off. As always, use the taller of the two lines. Now mine happens to be kind of stuck in here. That's okay. Alright, we'll work that. And then last but not least, let's throw the depth back across the page. Alright, so now I have, instead of like this one, it looks like it's rising up. This one, when I shade it in, looks like it's setting on top of. Alright, I could even put some value there. Now, before we kind of finish this out, I do want to make sure that you're aware, once again, maybe you jumped ahead to this tutorial and didn't do the first one, which shame on you if you did. But do know that as the boxes start going toward the vanishing point, there is a lot more distortion. So they look a lot funnier. They look a lot more slanted. So see how that works? And if I added more stuff to it, so you can see how that looks like it's rising, and then it's pulled up into that C-section. Alright, so with this, keep playing, keep adding to it. Alright, add some fun things, try some things around. If you really get stuck, Miss Tucker is there. She's a master and a whiz of this as well. But if you're watching this video and Miss Tucker's not going to be in the room, then please feel free to ask me any questions either in class or via email through Google Classroom. Alright, so please finish this up. I would like you to add one more building on this side, and then 2 more on this side. So that'll give you a grand total that we have 3 now. That'll be 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 buildings, alright, with all kinds of decorations and stuff like that on them. Alright, please keep shading, please keep trying some different shading effects and shading techniques, alright, so that way we can keep developing our style as we move forward through perspective into a lot more freestyle drawing. Alright, well, we thank you very much. That gives you 2 tutorials to work in your sketchbook. Please make sure you get those done in class so that you don't have outside of class to work on. We'll see you guys back here in class on Tuesday. Alright, keep sketching. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me through Google Classroom. Have a great weekend. See you on Tuesday.